looking at how to do the research you're going to be doing. All right, so we all know that research is the collection and analysis and interpretation of data, and that is meant to help us answer questions or to solve problems. And we also are able to look at some characteristics that make up a research. So if you're conducting a research, there are certain things you need to look at. One, there has to be a clear statement of the problem. You have to be able to state the problem clearly. You cannot uh, go ahead to conduct a research when you don't know the problem you want to solve or you want to find answers to, and when you have not been able to state that problem very clearly. The second thing you need to do is that you have to have clear objectives. You have to be able to state those things you hope to achieve at the end of the research work. So a research work is not something that you just do without direction, or you just do without having an aim. So we say you can do it aimlessly. You have to do it in an orderly manner. That's the second characteristic. Number three, research builds on the information you already have, the existing data. So that will include both positive and negative findings. So if you have to build on existing information or existing data, that means you have to do some reading. That's like we were talking about the literature review the last time. Then the new information that you're going to get has to be collected and analyzed in a systematic way. And they should be able to answer your original research objectives. So there are things to do when you are conducting research. For example, most of you in this room are in the health area, almost all of you. There are things to do when you are conducting research. The first thing to do is you have to be able to prioritize when you are selecting the topic. There may be several topics, but you have to be able to decide to prioritize which of the topics you're going to use. The next thing is you have to conduct literature review. You have to read other materials. You got to look for other information that are already in existence. These usually will help you to open up your mind, to open up your thinking, and give you a better understanding about the topic. So it's very important. You cannot go into conducting research just like that if you have not been able to uh, do some reading. So just a minute, I'm trying to get someone in and then I'll come back. So, like I was saying, you have to be able to read, to conduct a literature review, uh, which will help you to give you a better understanding of the topic that you are discussing. After you have done that, then you can develop the proposal. You have to develop the proposal. Then the proposal will tell you what you want to do, will tell your teacher or your supervisor what you want to do. And then you'll be able to follow through. We'll look at the, the layout of the proposal later on. The next thing you have to do after you develop a proposal is to implement the study. I mean, to do the work now. So now that you have the proposal ready, you can now go into collecting the data. After your data collection, which you could do using either an online form or a paper-based form, depending on what is required, you will be able to collect the information. After that, you process it. You process the information and then you do the analysis. The processing and analysis will have to do with organizing the data, cleaning it. If there are things in the data that you don't really want, getting those things out and ensuring that uh, the data is properly ready for uh, your work, and then you are able now to do the analysis. After that, you need to interpret the results. Nobody will be able to easily just give an interpretation of your result if you are not being able to do so. So you have to tell us this information is this way because of X, Y, Z. You have to give us the meaning of the results that you have gotten. So after the result interpretation, the next thing you need to do is to write a report. Then when you write the report and you do the presenting of the result, in this case, you'll be doing a scientific publication that we talk about. So we say you publish the work. Publishing the work is one way of presenting it. You can also present the work in meetings, in seminars and workshops, conferences, different areas, even to policymakers, and in your community, you can do the presentation of the work in all these different areas. So basically, I've said everything you need to do. We'll talk about prioritizing and selecting the topic. Uh, Key is that the topic must be relevant. The topic that you want to use has to be a topic of relevance. And when you are answering or trying to select a topic, there may be few questions that you want to ask yourself. In the process of selecting your topic, you may want to find out how large or widespread the problem you want to solve is. Is this problem affecting a lot of people? You want to know that. You want to know who are those that are affected by the problem. And you want to know the severity of the problem. These are three key questions you ask yourself when you are deciding uh, to get the when you are deciding to get your topic. So you ask about the scope of the problem. how large or how widespread it is, then who are those that are affected by the problem? You need to answer that question. And then the next thing you need to do is now how serious it is. When you answer those, then you can be able to set the priority. Now, I think this other problem is mostly important and relevant for me to discuss than the other one. So before carrying out the study, we're saying that it is important for you to find out whether the topic uh, that has been suggested to you has been investigated before, and if it has been, whether it has been in your study area, the proposed study area where you're going to conduct that study. Has that study been conducted in that particular area? So we're saying if that is the case, if the topic has been researched, then you have to go and read about the results. What were the results that were gathered? And if these results um, that were gathered do not answer the questions that you want to find answers to, then you can go ahead with it. But if there is already an answer to the question, the problem you want to solve for that study that has been conducted, then you can choose another topic. People keep joining, and that's why you keep seeing me changing the screen. So, all right. So, when you ask or when you do this particular due diligence, we say you do a literature review. Why do you want to do literature review? It will help you to not to duplicate, sorry, work that has already been done. Then it will help you to find out uh, what others learn and what report others have given about the problem you want to solve. And then uh, if you are able to do that from reading, you are able to maybe refine your problem statement. The other thing that the literature review will do is that it will help you to become more familiar with the different research methods that people use to conduct their study. The study you are doing, similar studies, what methods were used. You will get familiar with those other methods. Those will help you further to be able to better know how to coin your method, to design your method that will make it to be good. And then the other thing is that the literature review should be able to allow you to get convincing arguments why the particular research you are conducting is needed. From the literature review, you can say, oh, this study was a study around this topic was done by so and so person. Another one was done by this person. They want this person. They found these different things, but I think there was a need for additional things that are, so far my research has not seen. And then based on that, I think the study is necessary for to be conducted. So I'll be conducting the study based on the fact that other information that are still needed have not been discussed. And then you'll be able to come out with that. So the literature review helps to open up your mind very well. Now, when you are writing the proposal, what are those things we want in the proposal? We want the title of the research. We want the introduction. We want the research objective. We want the hypothesis of the research, the method, your work plan, how you're going to go about doing everything, the data collection, all the different things, and then how are you going to disseminate the results, and then references and annexes. These are the basic things that you will need. Basically, this is what you will need for the work you are about to do. So we'll look at it in a little more detail so that you can get it better. Uh, so we say you should have a good title. The title should, if the title is good, it shouldn't be something long. It should be short. It should be accurate also. So a clear title is good. It shouldn't be long. So the title should carry the central idea. The main objective of the study should be seen in the title. So just by looking at the title, I have an idea of what I'm about to discuss. It's very important. It's also very important to be able to state the population that you are going to be investigating, the population you'll be investigating. So uh, maybe assessing uh, the health condition of inhabitants of police academy community. Police academy community, I have specified the population that I will be investigating. So those who live in the police academy community are those that I will be investigating. So basically, these are things that you should consider when you're selecting your topic. So the background or the introduction should provide background information about your research, your problem. So here you should be able to convince those who will be reading your paper. You should be able to convince them about the relevance of your study. This study is serious. Why? What's the magnitude, the size? It's serious. Now, I told you about the magnitude in terms of how large the problem is, how serious it is. You have to be able to convince that your reader in the introduction. In the same introduction, you should be able to give enough background data. You can give a global picture of the problem. You can give a regional picture of the problem. You can give a national picture of the problem. So the global picture, you'll be discussing what the figures are, what the data is, what the data about that problem is globally. And then maybe you talk about in the region, like we are in Africa or in West Africa. You are able to mention what information is available about that problem in Africa. Then you come to Liberia and then also be able to provide some information. Everything should be given in the introduction. And then you will get these from the literature review. If you don't read, you'll not be able to find the information in the literature review. I mean, you'll not be able to find this information that you will add in your introduction. So you have to be able to read enough. That will help you to be able to get all those different information and then provide those in your introduction. Of course, the objective of the research is you're talking about the goal that you want to achieve, that the research want to achieve. So we say it is important to get objectives because it will help you to remain focused. And you're not going to just jump from one place to another. The objectives will guide the study, will guide your work on the important things that you're going to be discussing. So even though you talk about assessing the health status of people in police academy, but there are particular health issues you want to discuss. So you list those in your objective, and then that will help you to only focus on those and not be just running all around and looking for information and adding information that might not even be necessary for the study. Another thing, the objective, setting the objective will help you to do is that it will help you to avoid collecting data that you don't want, data that will not be necessary for your work. You want information that will be able to just help you to solve your problem. So when you set the objective, you'll be able to get data that will be able to find solution to your problem. The other thing that setting the objective will do is that it helps you to organize your study properly. Like I said, you can even be able to define the parts of your study, and then you can properly set your specific objectives, you know, and then it will help you to also be able to decide which methods you're going to use, and then it will help you to be able to know how you collect your data, how your data will be analyzed, then the interpretation and the data use. So we say that it is very important for you to be able to do that. And the way for you to state your objective uh, is also important. You state them like uh, maybe by the end of the study, or the study, I will estimate this number of sick people in the community. Will determine, you use action verbs to be able to state your objectives. The next thing you may be looking at is the research hypothesis. Normally, the hypothesis talks about something that you are predicting that might happen, something that you predict will happen. It might not be true that is going to happen, but that was from the beginning. This is what you think. Looking at the problem, you are thinking that this is actually, what this problem is causing. So there are two things you look at there. You look at independent variables, key things to look at independent variables, call them the predisposing, or you can call them risk factors. In the health area, we use risk factors a lot. So you can look at the independent variables. So the risk factors are usually independent variables. And then we can look at the dependent variables that you could call the outcome or the condition or the disease. So the hypothesis uh, will usually translate the problem statement into a precise and clear prediction of the kind of outcome you expect. So one thing to do is that you have to be able to emphasize that the hypothesis that you have, set are not meant to just be ordinary guesses, but they have to show that you have deep knowledge about uh, the issue. You have deep knowledge. You have clear imagination and experience. And, when people see it, they should be able to know that yes, you know what you're talking about. Your idea is clear, and then when you are selecting the hypothesis, we're saying that you have to look at all the important variables that you will be using. So the methods, we're talking about those important things, those important points. So in your methods, you discuss the variables. So you have to tell us the variables that you will be using. In your method, can be able to tell us the variables that will be involved in the study. So there are four main types of variables. We have the first two that we just looked at, the independent or the predisposing or risk factor variable, and we have the dependent variable, which you can also call the outcome, the condition or the disease. And then we have confounding variables, and then we have background variables. So in the methods, it is important for you to be able to specify whether also the variables are numerical or whether they are continuous or discrete variables or whether they are categorical variables, whether they are ordinal or nominal variables. Then the next thing you need to do is to give your operational definition of the study variables. What is the meaning of each of the variables that you're discussing, right? If in most cases you're looking at cause-effect relationship or the independent and the dependent variable relationship, and then you're looking at uh, maybe poor dirty community being responsible for the increase in mosquito population, for example. So in that case, you have to be able to clearly tell us what the data community is. Is it an independent variable or the dependent variable? And why are you using it? And how will it help to give us a clear explanation about your problem at the end of the study? Then for the work plan, simply is a schedule that you're going to do, and then it should be able to tell us the different components of the project. And usually it talk about the tasks that will be performed, when you will perform that particular task, and then who will perform the task. Is it you or those you're going to investigate or who? Then the other thing is that you have to tell us how you're going to disseminate your results. Are you going to do it in a conference? Will it be published? All the different things you have to be able to tell us. So in your proposal, you should be able to show uh, what the what the report, how the report will be distributed or disseminated, and then other means that you're going to use must be there. So you can use all the different methods. You can give a report only looking at maybe publication, or you can do defense, you can do presentation in different groups. So you could use any of the methods, or you could use all of them. And when you finish, along the way, we have to see what you're doing. So your progress report we need to see, then the final report, and then we'll do the publication. So we can do the publication, we can do seminars, workshops, conferences, discussion with policymakers and all the things that we said earlier. Then from there, we'll do the referencing. So for the purpose of the referencing, we said we're going to, for now, you use the APA, and then we also said that we're now going to be writing all the different, we're going to use a reference manager that will help us to be able to do it. So in your annexes, those things you're going to attach, we want to see the questionnaire. We want to see the informed consent form, the form that you give the people who you're interviewing. The informed consent form will let the people agree, yes, I agree to go into through this interview to provide answers and I'm informed that this uh, interview answer will only be used for educational purpose or for a particular purpose that have been said, you gotta provide that form. Then whoever is responding agrees to it. Then the ethical or the institutional approval for the study also has to be there. So uh, the approval will be given by us for you to go ahead before you go ahead to conduct the study. All right. So far, this is an assignment. I will attach the work. Now I will break here and take questions. I take questions.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is research mentor. What's
Mm.
the difference between research mentor writing and the article writing?
The article which we are referring to here as a research publication or the scientific publication is a smaller paper. It's not a thesis.
All right.
But yeah, the ideas are the same. And then for this one, you don't see like in for example, you see all those long information. Sometimes you gotta go do justification, blah blah blah. We've just given you few things that you're going to use. You don't see limitation, delimitation, all the different things there. But just a short paper, but it has to be done the same way you conduct the research.
Okay. But do you use the same mentors? Like, for example, doing the paperwork and how you have to study the mentor in depth in the research development. Do you do same with the article writing?
Yes, we said that you can use the method. I think will give you everything that you can be able to do. So yes, you gotta explain to us how the study is done. The study setting, you gotta tell us. The sample size, you gotta tell us. And the population, you gotta tell us. So all I want about the methods, because you gotta say, but they are not uh, long papers. You give summaries, short information.
Yes, because the past class, the
Mm.
journal or article writing, it have three basic components: the heading, the body, and the conclusion. And
It's
that
still
is
there.
something.
It's still there like that. So the all the other information like the background or the introduction, then
Yes,
the introduction forms part of your thesis statement, and then the body of
yes,
the body of the work will include the methods and all the different things, and then the conclusion and the recommendation comes out there. So that's still divided into those are the three key parts. But this is a research article. Huh? A research
uh-huh.
article. So, yeah. So yeah, it has to carry the form of a research, though it is. lower. So can I take, yeah, John Doe? John Doe, you know, unmute
Yeah,
your
guy.
mic. Yeah.
That's, yeah, similarly, that's where I was going because you talk about the scientific writing. And in the scientific, when you look at the scientific writing, I was trying to compare it with that of the thesis because when you look at the scientific writing format, you only got introduction, you got the method, the result, discussion. But
Mm-hmm.
the issue on the background that we are talking about is also embedded in the scientific writing. Everything is embedded in what you refer to as the introduction. Unlike the thesis where you got the
Yes.
introduction, this and you got
Yes. So you can have introduction different, and then you have just the introduction is the same as the background. So if you're using background, you use background. If you're using introduction, you use introduction. But in the introduction, you give the background of the studies with background data that you get from literature review that have been conducted, that you have done.
okay. So the next thing I want to know you talk about us doing the work and doing publishing and when it comes to the publishing aspect, they got the publishing journals and the way they want the work to be done, that how you can do it. So I don't know how we can compromise that.
So when the work is done, we can
Uh-huh.
now, once we follow the format that we have here, it can fit in any journal. We'll be able to fit it in any journal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Timothy?
you.
Yeah, there was something similar I wanted to get clear because the issue of introduction and background, but I already got that. And one thing I want to get clear is I didn't hear you talk about whether we adding any abstract to this paper, abstract and acknowledgement.
Sure. Sure. No, acknowledgement, no, we're not going in that one. But the abstract, yes. Of course, but you cannot get the abstract until you have completed the paper. So upon completing
Yeah.
the paper, yeah, then we'll look at the abstract, how to write the abstract. So for now, we want you to
Okay.
have the information you can start working with. The abstract will come, but you got to finish your work before you can be able to write the abstract.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe for me, I did a pre-defending of the proposal before, and came in the field to do the implementation of the work. So yeah, a little bit ahead of others. So that's what I'm talking about.
So what we're doing here is different from your thesis. This is Power-Based Learning 3. This is a paper you're going to publish. So it's completely different from your thesis you are writing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so this is a small paper that you're going to write to publish.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, fifth, unmute your
Yeah,
mic.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same question I wanted to ask that one. I think John asked because when we're doing our proposal with the background, with the abstract, I think with the introduction. So I just wanted to know if it was the same thing, but it already clear because it already cleared it down.
Okay. So the thesis is so just see the publication, the research publication as a small thesis. Hmm? The thesis is a
Uh-huh.
bigger one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey Larry, you got a question? Hey Larry, I see your hand. All right. So again, let me thank you. I will try to share the link to this. I did the recording of the class, so I will share it and then, so that you can be able to see if you can have access to it.
Yes, that
Yeah.
the past class, the past class you were going to share the link the same way,
Yeah,
and
I downloaded it, but it's heavy. I thought I did it. I did. I put it on my YouTube channel and then I shared the link. I thought that was it.
all right. So
It's there. I think
essentially,
you should
it's
check.
like YouTube and play from YouTube.
Yes,
Hello.
because the link was heavier. I mean, the video is heavy. So what I did was to put it on my YouTube channel and then I shared the link so that you could watch it from YouTube. That's what I did.
I don't know whether we're closing now for
Now I have to.
Bible start issue.
The Bible start is tomorrow. No, Bible start.
Bible
Sorry,
start.
it should have been last night. I will have to
Yes.
set another class time for it. Last night, there was a heavy problem with network here. So while waiting for our locket to speak, so
Yeah. My concern is trying to probably send the installation of our program on our computers. Whether you will come up with another timeline for us to meet for the setup or leave you at your house. Hello? You got me down? You understand what I'm saying down?
I think you should be on mute.
I think your network fluctuating now.
Makali, you were coming in broken until the network went bad. What were you
Yeah,
saying?
I'm asking as to whether the time is scheduled for us to have met to install the program on the machine, our machines, whether you can reconsider the time again.
Yeah.
Because your
What I would do is I might just uh, show it to someone and ask them to install it on your machines, and then I will let you know in the chat room who I give it to for time so that any of you when you're on the campus can go there, the person can install it on your machine.
okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let me thank all of you for this session tonight, and we hope to meet tomorrow for problem-based learning 4. Uh, have a good night.
The same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Daraflo, before you go, let me ask question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that we the public or Polygon student we did not have class they got money. So are we waiting for next money or you will schedule another day?
Okay, probably have practicum. I will schedule. I just need to meet you one time for now, so I will schedule and put in the chat room, and then we can meet so that you can continue.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Well,